Bustin' mad like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just the brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a garden and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my sight like a lot.
Now, anyone who's been a longtime viewer on this channel knows I've been saying for a while now that Amado's really giving me vibes of Aizen from Bleach and Light Yagami from Death Note, where he's not what he's pretending to be when he's in the public eye and is actually pulling the strings from behind the scenes, and everything is going along with this plan. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that Masashi Kishimoto has used the puppet master and betrayal angle. It's pretty much all he did with the Naruto manga from Naruto Volume 1 all the way to Volume 72, where he rehashed this level of writing. Even Shikamaru in the manga has turned his attention to Amado, saying that he flat out doesn't trust him, that he feels as if everything is going exactly as Amado planned it, which shouldn't come to a shock to any of us. Amado, from the very moment that we met him, has been shown being someone who thinks several steps ahead. The guy was playing four-dimensional chess with Isshiki Otsutsuki, despite knowing that if he got caught, he was as good as dead. If he's willing to do something like that for years on end with a being that strong, despite the fact that he's in a weakened vessel like Jigen, if Amado is truly evil like I suspect, why would he ever think twice about playing another game of chess with Naruto, who has now lost the power of the Kyuubi, and Sasuke, who no longer has the rinnegan? Well, the fact of the matter is that for this video, we're going to be looking at 3 key building blocks to establish why Amado is indeed a villain and why Amado is hands down the most dangerous villain that we've ever had in this franchise. Now, in order to establish this, first we have to look at how Amado uses the powers of control via sound and laws from the 48 Laws of Power and some of the laws from the Art of War to establish that Amado has used these in the past and he's currently using them in Konoha against Naruto. And then we have to wrap up the video by looking at the mythology that has been linked to this character. And as you should know by now from my previous videos I've done, Masashi Kishimoto likes to borrow very heavily from Asian folklore and Asian mythology. It goes hand in hand with his writing style and his foreshadowing, and Amado is reeking of every bit of it. Now that we've established those parts of the video, we're going to go through each of them, starting with how Amado uses the power of sound for the purposes of control. When you think about it, Amado using this method of sound is something that fits the pattern of what Masashi Kishimoto likes to do, which is building on prior elements that we saw in the previous generation. Case in point being how the sound gaining from the tuning exams, who each had ninja devices that used their own chakra to pull off sound-based jutsu that had visible effects on the human body. For Amado, we've seen Amado use sound wave devices in the manga and in the anime. For Amado, the first time we see evidence of him being linked to something that is based off of sound actually comes from Boruto chapter 34, which is the chapter where Naruto defeats Delta and Delta's drone returns to the car hideout. Now, on the computer screen, if you pay close attention, we see Amado with the 2 monitors set up, and on the right monitor, we see the human body with data next to it. And then on the left monitor, we see 2 very interesting things that are going to be the key to the first point and the third point of this video, which is the sound-based control as well as the mythology. The mythology is going to be linked to the karma seal. So in the lower left-hand corner, we see a human ear on the screen. And in one of the upper right-hand corners, we see the shape of what appears to be a karma seal. Both of these things are very important, but for now, we're going to focus on the picture of the ear, and then we'll go back to the karma seal when we get to the mythology portion of the video. So the significance here is that Amado knows for certain that Delta is about to go inform Jigen that Boruto has a karma, which means that now is the time for him to start his escape plan, because Jigen was under the impression that only Kawaki had the karma seal that could be used for a vessel. This changed everything. So Amado just happened to be researching ears and likely looking up information on how hearing interacts with the human body right when Delta shows up, right when her consciousness is transferred from her drone into her new body. Amado is then later shown killing Delta by muttering a phrase, "Go to sleep, Delta," in Boruto chapter 44, which ties back to his research on human ears and sound. Now, more foreshadowing is further shown in the following scene that occurs. Kashin Koji specifically tells Amado in the manga to follow the wall all the way to the right, and he tells him, quote, "Happy hunting." Now, we know based off of the anime canon episode that Amado sent Kashin Koji into Konoha to gather specific scientific data, But the whole time, the whole theme of that episode was classic Naruto being put on display, which is that a ninja must always learn to see past deception. Amado had Kashin Koji make everyone think that he was after the shinobi data, which in truth he was. But he was also having a hidden agenda set up, which is why Kashin Koji said that the data wasn't something that was directly connected to his mission. He was also positioning the Inoshikacho trio to where Amado could find them, which is why in the manga he says happy hunting, because it's implying Amado is hunting down the Inoshikacho trio. You might be asking what's going on here. You're probably still not convinced, so let's go a little bit deeper here. So later on in the exact same chapter, we see Amado use a sound tool that emits a sound wave that throws off the Inoshikacho trio, and while they're recovering from their attack, Amado is shown placing spikes into the ear of Shikadai, and he uses a type of tool when he does so, which would tie back into his earlier research 10 chapters prior, where he had research on the human ear that we saw on his computer screen. He then gives us another example of a ninja must learn to see past deception. Everyone's attention was brilliantly shifted away from Amado having inserted something in his Shikadai's ear to all of a sudden there's a bomb on his neck, which in turn makes them forget to tell the Jonin who showed up that Amado did something to Shikadai's ear, because everyone's worried that Shikadai is going to go splat splat when his head's blown off. Now, it's very easy to say that Amado could have been telling the truth, that this is just a harmless drug to shut Shikadai up, but with the character of Amado, when has he ever truly been someone that you could trust what he says at face value? The answer is no, he's never been that character, and it's for very good reason. He's following one of the 48 laws of power, and something that the art of war preaches very commonly, which is you have to conceal your true intentions and you have to plan all the way into the end. I want you to keep those things in mind as we look at this next bit of evidence. Amado specifically was studying the human ear. If he was going to use a drug to try and drug Shikadai, why would he go directly for the ear of all places when he can clearly use that sharp object in order to inject Shikadai into his bloodstream via his arm like a normal person would? Again, nothing Amado does is at face value, and this would also explain why after Kawaki returned from the Isshiki battle, Amado's shown muttering. Shikamaru was in the room. He's now shown muttering. Sai is in the room. Shikamaru was acting out of character, and you could potentially see Sai act out of character if he hasn't already, which Sasuke implied, which I'll touch on later. And this isn't the first time this has been done either. Look at how Madara and Obito hid their true intentions before they blew up the Shinobi HQ. We're seeing something similar go on here. Shikamaru is known as the brain of Konoha now. Having Shikadai held hostage immediately throws Shikamaru off, and we see it in the interrogation room when Amado is shown laughing at him, and this is a common theme. Amado is constantly shown laughing at Shikamaru at inopportune times. Now, this is important because Amado right now is showing you that he knows that his true purpose has not been detected yet. Think about it for a second. Just as he pulled a fast one over on Isshiki and got Jigen's body destroyed and denied Isshiki Kawaki as a vessel, he was pulling another fast one on Naruto and Shikamaru here. So Amado injected Shikadai in the ear, just like Isshiki was shown taking over Jigen's body via going into his ear and getting access to his brain, which allowed him to control Jigen's body. Amado has already studied karma. Now he's studying the ears, and he's shown being able to control Delta via that cutoff switch when his words reached her ear. Now let's further look into the symbolism of the ears in the brain here. So Amado is shown telling Kawaki that something is about to happen to his body, and he's shown squinting his eyes in the Boruto manga when Kawaki's about to lose the Karma Seal. While it could be that he's just looking to watch the Karma Seal unfold, I will remind you, Amado has ninja weapon tech eyes, which means that just as Sarda's Sharingan was able to see Boro's virus, he would be able to see this as well, which is just as the Karma Seal is about to begin to vanish and traces of it begin to float away, particles would have been replaced. Now, while Sasuke was in the room, once you go back to the manga chapter, Sasuke had his Sharingan eye cut off during this time. The karma is shown being blown off in the air, and the substance resembles the same black fog that Boro used for his virus, and Amado had the means to try and tie something like that into Kawaki's Karma Seal because Amado altered Kawaki's body with the nanomachines and made Kawaki a cyborg like all of the Inner Car members. Now, keeping this in mind as well, let's look at who is in the room when Kawaki's karma discharges this strange smoke that we see. Naruto, Sasuke, Amado, Shikamaru, Kawaki, and Boruto. Now, some of you guys might ask, well, why didn't any of the other characters fall victim to this pathogen? If you're right, this is clearly a loophole in your theory. So I'm going to say this right here. So Sasuke is immune to poison. And if this is indeed very similar to the poison that Boro used, then just as Mitsuki was immune, so too would be Sasuke. And if this is from the same family of pathogens, Sasuke should have immunity to it as well. Now, Naruto also has Kurama, and as we know from early Naruto, poisons don't work on Naruto right away because he has the QB chakra. Boruto and Kawaki, if this is a similar strain of pathogen, they've already been immunized to it because of Mitsuki's antibodies. Now, Amado is very self-explanatory here. Why wouldn't he make himself immune to a poison like this? That leaves Shikamaru as the only odd man out. Now, at this point, we see some changes that happen, very visible changes that we're seeing now in the Boruto manga, but we saw it in the anime especially. Shikamaru goes from super big brain IQ, smartest guy in the room, to not being able to come up with a strategy when Isshiki arrives. Konoha's brain has been taken out here, something that the leaf tuning in the anime episode pointed out was very odd for Shikamaru. Amado at this point onward starts using another one of the 48 laws of power, which is to keep other people dependent on you. Shikamaru's intelligence has been compromised. Now, they only have Amado's intel on Kara, the Karma Seal, and Isshiki in order to go off of. He's become invaluable to the Hokage, and even more so by giving Naruto the Byakugan suppressant drugs to give to Boruto, and even the Kages warn Naruto that Amado cannot be trusted. That's more foreshadowing, but we also see another one of the 48 laws of power here, which is essentially Amado's being shown actively practicing selective honesty. Notice the way that there always seems to be a new development that pops up that Amado conveniently doesn't disclose. Suddenly, Code has a Karma Seal, something that should have been disclosed earlier. Suddenly, Code has these claw marks that are acting like a baby flying Raijin. Suddenly, there are these cyborgs who are stronger than Jigen, something that he didn't disclose right away. But now this new info makes him so indisposable, all while Shikamaru is unable to put all the pieces together. But instinctually, Shikamaru knows that something is off, which he says very bluntly to Amado in the manga. Now, the sad truth about all this is that there is something wrong with Shikamaru. Shikamaru is exhibiting the same complaints that Delta and Deepa have done in the past, which is after Amado messed up their bodies, they lost their sense of taste. Deepa was shown in a diner upset that he couldn't taste food. Delta gets pissed off that she can't taste anything when she eats with Jigen. Now Shikamaru suddenly can't taste his cigarettes. In both cases, before Shikamaru, they were on their way out the story, and now Shikamaru's in a situation where a lot of people expect him to die. Now, if Amado did release a pathogen specifically meant to infect Shikamaru and Shikamaru alone, that explains why Sasuke looks at the information presented about Code's jutsu, and he's immediately questioning if Shikamaru came up with such a unoriginal plan in order to deal with Code's jutsu. In the Shikamaru Shinden novel, when Sasuke lights the cigarette for Shikamaru when he uses the Chidori, he specifically compliments him on the strategies that Shikamaru is able to come up with and that he holds his brain in high regard. But here in the manga, he's shown being disappointed by Shikamaru's decision, almost as if it's something out of character. This is even more so the case when you compare Shikamaru during the Akatsuki suppression arc, where he's shown on the rooftop studying the files for the Akatsuki, and after Asuma died, he came up with a plan to track down Hidan and Kakuzu and kill them in only a matter of a few days. However, it's been 11 days since Code has used his jutsu, and suddenly now he has no plan. Now you might say that's a lot of steps to have to put in play. You're making Amado sound like Light Yagami when he was planning several moves ahead in order to get into position to kill L in the Death Note series, and I would say if you say that, you're absolutely right. Look at the way that Amado systematically destroyed Kara from the inside, starting with Deepa, using him as a pawn to deflect the blame off of himself, while also setting up Victor, and then go all the way to how he used Kashin Koji as a pawn in order to get Jigen killed in order to free Kawaki of the Karma Seal and potentially release this pathogen. Look at all the steps Amado had to use just to get to that point. So is it really crazy to say that Amado didn't think this far ahead? Why would he do this? Again, it's for control. Only now the control is for Kawaki, who Amado wants to turn into a weapon. Now, The reason for this goes back to something I've been saying for a while. Months ago, I said I thought that Amado has way too much info on the Karma Seal and its workings, information that made no sense for Isshiki to willingly divulge to him. If you go back to my reviews for Boruto chapter 45, 46, and 47, I kept mentioning that Amado was an unreliable narrator, saying that Amado reeked of being an unreliable narrator, and that not everything he was saying was going to be the truth. We've already established the 48 laws of power and the art of war at work here, but now let's look at how Amado's selective honesty and ability to plan all the way into the end has been put into play. First, when Amado explains how karma operates, at no point did he ever mention that Kawaki and Jigen weren't the only ones who had a karma seal. All the karma seals have the same pattern, but Code's karma is white. Amado could have told him this when he was explaining to him that the karma seal vanishes when Jigen died and Isshiki was forced to revive. He specifically said it was meant to prevent multiple copies of an Otsutsuki from walking around. He could have mentioned that Code had a karma, but he doesn't do so until Naruto and Sasuke are too weak in order to handle Code, which means that he always assumed that Code would maintain this karma seal, but he never revealed it. Why is that? Is there something more to Code's karma? And the answer is yes. Code's karma gives him the power of the Otsutsuki, but not the ability to serve as a vessel, and none of his DNA is overridden as being Otsutsuki, yet his karma is able to summon Isshiki's spirit with no problem. That's a red flag right there. Well, the foreshadowing in this is that Code's body has had a visible reaction to the karma. We were told this, which means that something happened to him in that time when he was being given karma. A ritual where so many children died in it. Kawaki and Code happen to be in the exact same batch that produces the only child to ever survive Isshiki's karma, that child being Kawaki. To put it simply, I believe Amado took this opportunity to test out a scientifically engineered karma seal, placing it on Code while he was working under Jigen. And I don't think that it's crazy, because scientists testing out a theory and messing with things they don't understand, that's a common trope in literature. Evidence for this comes from the mere fact that when Code summons Isshiki's spirit, it is shown with a visible white smoke coming from his karma seal. It is a white smoke that is consistent with Delta's eye overheating when she fought against Naruto, and Kawaki's body overheating when he fought against Goro. In both of these cases, ninja tech were overheating, which means that Code was the test subject for Amado's ninja tech karma seal that he wanted to give Kawaki, which would explain why he went out of his way to have the karma seal removed from Kawaki right when the body was at 80% Otsutsuki DNA and power and on the verge of becoming a perfect vessel for an Otsutsuki. He spent years gathering data on Kawaki, who had a genuine karma, while also studying Code, who had a manufactured karma seal, and timed everything to when Kawaki was in phase 3 and so close to becoming a perfect host. As we've already established with Kar and Shikamaru, Amado has a tendency to plan several steps in advance and remove anyone who could be a problem for him. Shikamaru in the manga is acting out of character, and he's in danger of dying right after exhibiting similar signs to Delta and Deep about losing his sense of taste. Code is another loose end, because he wants to create a divine tree, which will make him a similar threat to Isshiki, who wanted the same thing. Now, Amado's already taking steps in order to remove Code, and I'll explain to you why. Amado and Ada both said that Code is an idiot who is very easy to be controlled, which fits Kishimoto's penchant for betrayals and the puppet master, and that also goes back to what I've been telling you guys. I don't think that Code's going to be a long-term villain here in the manga. When Isshiki first appeared out of the smoke of what appears to be similar to overheating a ninja tech, Isshiki's soul appears and lists off the agenda for Code, and he gives them very specific names to hunt down. Notice nowhere in there did he mention Kashin Koji. Notice nowhere in there did Code ever mention Kashin Koji, who Isshiki at last saw when Kashin Koji reverse summoned himself off the battlefield. Isshiki assumed that he went back to Amado. Now, why wouldn't he want revenge on Kashin Koji if it was indeed Isshiki? Kashin Koji was the one that killed Jigen and forced him to revive into Jigen. Well, the truth is, I don't think that that was Isshiki. I think that that was a ninja tech projection meant to play off of Code's Otsutsuki obsession, which makes sense. Amado thinks that Kashin Koji is dead, and Koji is the one name not listed, which is why I've been saying for a while that Kashin Koji appearing is going to be the oversight that Amado made if Amado is indeed evil. And if you doubt this, I want you to remember that Amado's glasses were able to do what? Project the image of Kashin Koji versus Jigen. So is it really that crazy to say that he's not able to project a fake version of Isshiki for Code? Now, This all builds towards Amado's endgame with Kawaki, and for this I got to credit a follower of mine on Twitter, Hidden Leaf. Now in October, when I was working on the framework of the script, mainly the idea of sound control, Hidden Leaf tagged me in a thread where there was a mention of mythology and it really stood out. He pointed out that Amado was called a fox by Isshiki, and foxes are known to possess people in Japanese mythology. Amado has shown the same traits of the Ameno Jaku, which is a yokai that tricks children into open up doors to their home. It kills them and then it wears their skin. Sounds creepy, but bear with me for a second. Amado referred to giving Kawaki a brand new ninja tech and used references of a door and a home when he did so. The only thing left is taking control of the body itself, which would explain why he waited so long. All these moves were made to get us to a point to where Kawaki is ready to be an Otsutsuki host and Amado could take over the body, or he could just control him, which goes back to my theory about the research on the ears. The motivation is there because in the manga, Jigen says that after Naruto and Sasuke lose to Jigen, he tells Amado that even Amado's wishes will come true when they get the chakra fruit. Victor was a scientist much like Amado, and Victor tried to take possession of the chakra fruit behind Jigen's back. Why wouldn't Amado do the same if he's a smarter version of Victor? The answer is he would. Now, if you still doubt this, I want you to go back to Boruto chapter 34. Remember the computer monitor. On the screen next to the ear, we see Amado has a karma seal on that screen as well. His goal was either to control Kawaki or take his body outright, which will explain why the boy who loves Naruto so much is at the center of Konoha's destruction 3 years after Kawaki first met Naruto. However, that's going to be it for this video today. Do you agree with me that Amado is about to join Light Yagami and Aizen as one of the most big brain villains in Shonen? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day, guys.